when I read the headline of the story, I was a bit confused when they said that this mother left her child with a stranger. And I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. Like, how does this happen? Why would you do this? What were the circumstances? But let me give you guys a quick rundown disclaimer real quick before we talk about this crazy story. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And I'm getting this information from ksat.com. So thank you so much for the article. Real quick, let me do something. Let me back this up just for a second. A lot to talk about in a small amount of time. This is coming out of San Antonio. The estranged husband of a woman who is accused, and I hope y'all follow this because this is very strange. A woman is accused of leaving their toddler with a stranger and then leaving town, says San Antonio police have their story all wrong. Dominique, who KSAT is only identifying by his first name, that's the estranged husband, is speaking out after the arrest of his soon-to-be ex-wife. Now, why is he coming out, that guy, and defending her so hard is beyond me. The woman was charged Wednesday with abandoning a child, a toddler. An arrest affidavit written by police investigators said that the woman's disappearance with the couple's 2.5-year-old daughter several months ago, and then left with the child with a stranger and boarded a bus for St. Louis. The affidavit does not specify where the child was the whole time. However, it mentions that she suddenly was returned to her father by someone who the family did not know. Dominique says despite the way things look, the affidavit does not tell the whole story. She was being held against her will, and this is his words. She was being held against her will and had my daughter taken away from her by a ring of these people. He said, they were using my daughter as a hostage to keep my wife in submission. What? Does that make any sense? Let's hear a little bit more. By these people, Dominique said that he was referring to a group of people, including a woman who his estranged wife met online soon after they broke up. Let's rein this in and let's stop right there. Because you're talking about accountability. So she went out, found these people, sought them out, put herself and her child in danger, and now she's the victim? Really? Really? I'm telling y'all, it really happened. It's like, why are you defending her? It sounds like that you was in love with this woman. She didn't want to be with you and she's divorcing you. And you still on that simp, S-I-M-P, someone who idolizes mediocre potheads. And you still in love with this crackhead looking bride. That's what it sounded like to me. He said the woman initially made promises to the mother, but then she and others forced her into a life that she did not want. How did they force her if she met them online? You see how dumb that sounds? Maybe stay your punk ass offline, since you're too dumb to figure out how that's supposed to work. She was being sized up and groomed, he said. She said she was moved to Austin. She said she had to be moved to California for about a month and a half and then Kansas City. While she was in St. Louis, Dominique said that the mother finally got the nerve to go to the police for help. So it sounded like a choice. She was then turned over to the San Antonio police and brought back to town where she was charged. And I think they got that right. A police investigator in the St. Louis suburb confirmed to KSAT that the mother reported being a victim of sex trafficking. Because KSAT's policy is not to identify victims of sex trafficking, the information that could identify her has been removed from the story, but you already see her face. She's already out there. She's not a victim, in my opinion. Meanwhile, he says a stranger suddenly showed up at his home a few weeks ago and handed over his missing daughter, and that doesn't make any damn sense either. Somebody in the chat said it. Thank you. A grown woman was being groomed. Not buying it. I don't think so. Not buying it. However, he said criminal charges against his soon-to-be ex-wife hit him by surprise, and he believes that they are not warranted. She's not a bad mom by no means, he said. She had my daughter attached to her hip all the time. Although he does not see a future for the mother in him as a couple, Dominic says that he would like to see her continue to be a mother to his daughter. That sounds like a simp talking. KSAT reached out to the San Antonio Police Department for comment on the allegations in this story, and a spokesman, though, said they cannot comment on the story because it involves a child. We also called police in the suburb of St. Louis called Bridgeton, where they said they found her in the city. She did tell them that she was a victim of sex trafficking. However, San Antonio Police Department advised that she was a wanted person and should be arrested. And I think they got it right, and I'm pretty sure they got the details. Let me give you guys a fair use, and I'm going to play like one of these news videos. Here we go. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. If you guys are watching this, leave a comment. I know some of y'all are probably impassioned. Have your opinions. Post it in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Here we go.
Is she a criminal or is she a crime victim? That's a big question surrounding a woman who was accused of handing her toddler over to a stranger and then leaving town.
San Antonio police have arrested her, but as our Katrina Weber reports, her soon-to-be ex-husband, whom we are only identifying by his first name, says she was forced to do it. We're blurring his face for his and his soon-to-be ex-wife's protection.
An affidavit shows San Antonio police arrested a woman accusing her of handing off her 2.5-year-old daughter to a stranger months ago, then boarding a bus to St. Louis. We are no longer naming the woman because she says she's a victim of sex trafficking, a statement the baby's father says he agrees with.
She's being held against her will and had my daughter taken away from her by a ring of these people.
These people, according to Dominic, include a woman who his estranged wife met online soon after they broke up. He says that woman and others forced her to move all over the country. Now,
I want y'all to think about this. I want y'all to think about how strange that is that she met these people right after they broke up. Do y'all think that sounds right? Let me talk to the people that are discerning this, how I'm discerning this. More times than none, when a person is exiting a relationship, especially a marriage, they're usually exiting that marriage already in communication with somebody else. When it comes to somebody that has their interest or some type of love interest or something, they usually already are communicating. She didn't break up with him, then start talking to these people. More times than none, they're usually already talking to these people, whether it's men or women or whatever it is that they like. They're usually already got this stuff going, but I digress.
All over the country. The whole time, they both wondered where their toddler was.
They were using my daughter as a hostage to keep my wife beaten into submission.
Dominic says she finally got the nerve to go to police in St. Louis for help. Then suddenly, about 2 weeks ago, a stranger dropped off their daughter at his door here. Dominic says he thought the worst was behind him when he finally got his daughter back in his arms. But he says the arrest of his soon-to-be ex-wife only opens a new chapter in his family's pain.
She's still kind of recovering from the whole psychological aspect of it. she's not a bad mom by no means.
He says he would like to see the charge against her dropped so she can continue being a mother. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Okay, so here's the thing. Why would you want her to continue to be a mother if she was groomed? So I want you guys to think about this. Why not allow her to be a mother? You be a father, you keep your child, and you keep your child safe since you weren't the one that was being groomed and being pimped all over the world, being sex trafficked all over different area codes. But you notice how he didn't say nothing about that? He's just like, I want her to continue to be the parent. Why don't you be the father in a situation like this? Look, let's just look at it like this. Just from a legal standpoint, she's going to be arrested, charged, and tried for this crime that they're alleging that she committed. With that on the table, at that point, you have to say, I'm going to step up and be a father. Give me full custody of my daughter so my daughter doesn't end up in the foster care system. That's the number one thing that should have been coming out of his mouth and should be his number one priority is the children. She grown. If she end up getting sex trafficked, you don't hear about, like, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but more times than none, that usually involves somebody with a feeble mind, usually kids being, kidnapped and sex trafficked. It does happen to grown women. It definitely does. They do get pimped out. I get that. If that's the case and if that's what the real situation is, his only concern shouldn't be about getting her off of charges. Let her figure that out. Let her and her public defender, let them figure that out. Go get your daughter, raise your daughter, or shut the hell up. Dad. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section.